Hey there, welcome to Synth Seeker. My name is Luke. I'm here with my buddy Joe, Taskboy3000, and this is the third implementation of Nerds Talking About Synths. And we're going to cover a bunch of topics today and just have a discussion, and you all can listen in. This is pure entertainment, and so any hot takes or things like that may be intended as hot takes to elicit a response, or maybe it just means we're codgers who are opinionated. Sound good?
I agree, except I disagree entirely with everything you just said.
Oh, okay.
Is that going to get us some clicks now?
Yeah, get the clicks. We're both drinking. I'm not going to say what. So you'll hear glasses, pint glasses and mugs coming up and down on the thing.
The table service here is very slow.
The waiter who brought me this drink, he was hot. So thanks for bringing me my drink, Joe. All right. So we're just going to start wandering through. We've been collecting topics that we were going to sort of meander about. So whenever we saw something in the news or we saw something on SynthTube that intrigued us or made us happy or made us sad or annoyed us, we wrote it down and said, we should talk about this later. And so the first thing there that we're going to do is we're going to start easy, not too inflammatory. We're going to say, this statement was made by a friend of mine named Juan, who I share a birthday with, another podcaster. I won't specifically say who, right? We don't want to give anyone any clout.
Not unless they pay. That's the deal.
Jesus Christ, no. Right. All right. But it was said, analog voices are worth their weight in gold when describing a synthesizer. The analog, and it's got 4 analog voices. And as we know, that's worth its weight in gold. I think you and I are aligned on a lot of these things. Maybe not, but are analog voices worth their weight in gold?
No. Next question.
Okay, we'll move right on.
A little. So I am of.
As opposed to, I assume, digital voices or digital hybrid voices.
Well, I to be snarky, I'd say analog voices are worth their weight in gold, but digital voices are worth their weight in platinum. So,
okay.
I prefer the digital voices in many respects to analog, even though I think analog can have some pleasing timbres to it. There's nothing that you can't get from an analog that you can't do in digital. That's right.
There's a hot take. There's a hot take. Some people will be like,
that said, and you can't. The reverse is not true. There are things that you can't make analog do that digital can.
Yeah, like
stay in tune. Oh, did I? Oh, play 5 octaves in tune. Go ahead, analog.
Oh my God.
The gauntlet's thrown down.
I gotta say, as much as I love Lisa Belladonna, when I listened to her most recent album, there are definitely analog drift places that are, I would say, probably unintentional tuning discrepancies. But then I'm also super OCD about tuning.
Yeah.
I'm not saying I have a particularly powerful in-tune ear. I don't. But, sometimes I hear beating that can't possibly have been intended. Yeah. But, I could be wrong. But
we're talking about, waves beating against each other, just to be very clear. Not.
You certainly could never say recreate the sounds of nature using analog gear.
No, that's a joke. You can.
Yeah.
But
so, that's Joe's jam right now.
It is. It's my aspiration. But just to dig into this a little bit more, I understand a kind of nostalgia for when someone hears, especially if someone of a certain age, hears an analog oscillator, and that might put them in the mind of a particular era from their youth, and that's kind of fun. I think sometimes analog synths, I think they might have more volume in some cases.
They're louder.
They're
more
louder. But that's not the oscillator's effect. That's the op amps they're using in the post.
I think this is the first of the cross references to JHS pedals, right? What is it? Louder is more good.
Louder is more good.
What is he? Yeah, I can't remember. They got a catchphrase, a bumper sticker.
As a recovering guitarist, I also believe louder is more good.
Louder is more good. Yes. All right.
So I think, but that's a common problem when you're starting to mix, is mistaking additional volume for
sounding better. That's a music sound physics thing, right? Turn it up. Here's 2 identical recordings. If I play one 3 decibels louder, you're going to go, yeah, that one sounds better.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. That's true of everything. And that's why maybe so many people, pooped all over the modal synths, right? First rev of the modal synths. My Cobalt 8 definitely was quiet, right? And they addressed it in a firmware update. We'll get into firmware update expectations as a different topic today, but yeah.
So yeah, this issue of analog, I'm not going to let this go.
Are analog worth their weight in gold?
Yeah.
All synths are worth their weight in gold, regardless of whether they're analog or not.
If you're having fun with it, it's worth it.
Yeah.
I think everybody,
even the software synths.
Especially, I don't know how much of a tangent we want to go on for software synths, but I'm big into some of the big free software synths right now.
Yeah.
That I think I dismissed early because like, oh, they're free. How good can they possibly be?
I am so guilty of that. I am very guilty of that. And then I ran into ZBrulet 3 demo, beta or whatever, and that thing's like awesome.
That's quite powerful.
Yeah.
But things like Vital are very, very powerful right out of the gate. But it takes a little time to learn the software.
Yeah. There's no knobs. I mean, they're virtual, but
they're virtual.
There's something the monkey brain is capable of. Like if I turn the knob physically and then the sound does something, right? Which leads us to synths that are terrible panels that when you turn the knob, nothing happens in certain cases because you don't understand the context of that knob, or it's in a mode where that knob doesn't do anything. Yeah, I'm looking at you, Volca. I'm also looking at, all the Roland synths, the Jupiter X and all that. It's like, oh, why doesn't this knob do anything? It's because you're not in Jupiter X mode, you're in Juno 106 mode. And hey, buddy, the LEDs that were lighting up that knob have gone dim, so only a monkey would be turning that. And it's like, well, yeah.
And I am.
I'm essentially a monkey, right? For sure. So. All right. So, analog worth their weight in gold. No, it's not. It's like you can enjoy your analog stuff.
I think it's so. I want to. I came in hot.
You have a bunch of synths.
I have a bunch of synths.
How many are analog, or hybrid, digital with analog?
Sure.
Filters, because people are really.
I don't want.
Like, the warmth comes from the analog filter, man, and that may or may not be true for you, but generally, I just don't care.
Yeah. I am so I'm just going to tell you about analog oscillators. We can identify those relatively easily.
Yeah.
I have two Dreadbox synths, the Nymphs and the Typhon. I've got a Behringer Crave and Edge. I've got a Behringer Pro 800, and I've got a Take 5. So that seems like 6 of them.
Yeah. So you have. Yeah, we can go percentages. We don't have to do tallies, but
then I have to figure out my total number of synths.
Fine.
But I wanted, because I was a little curious too to do that math. So of those, I would sort of count as my go-to synths. Although I love the Nymphs a great deal. The sort of stuff I have wired up in my studio ready to go is just two of my, I think 5 or 6 synths that I have sort of ready to go.
Yeah.
And honestly, one of those, the Pro 800, I forgot about the K2 that I just got from somebody.
Who sold you that piece of trash?
Luke had to get rid of the K2 because he couldn't possibly stand the awesomeness of it any longer.
It is an awesome synth. It just doesn't have a keyboard attached to it.
It does not.
But then I went and priced the full scale MS-20s used on Reverb, and they're all like $2,000. And I'm like, well, I'm not buying that either. So for me, my MS-20 needs are met with software right now.
But my point is, they're definitely one of the things that I like about analog gear is the limited user interface of it. So and the limited sound palette. It's not that I think it's superior, but I get into this mode when I'm using those synths that I'm like, oh, I'm going to put on my Rick Wakeman cape.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna enjoy pulse width modulation.
Yeah.
To an indecent amount.
Yeah.
And
I'm gonna hold one of the ends of the patch cables in the system in my mouth.
Yeah.
Because that's modulation. Modulation. It's digital, not digital. It's a synth-based talk box.
Yeah.
Obviously. It's like depending on whether your fillings are zirconian or not, or.
Yeah. So again, I want people who are enjoying their synths. I want you to enjoy your synths. I don't really care. But if you have a digital synth and you feel like you're getting beat up by the YouTubers who are saying that it's analog or nothing, understand the sound that's capable of many of the modern virtual analog digital synths is quite capable of producing 99% of the sounds you're getting out of the
Yeah.
vintage gear.
Yeah. Multi-poly for the win.
Yeah.
Hydrosynth.
Yeah.
If you like the hydrosynth. Not everybody does. Not everybody likes multi-poly. So, I mean, it's all relative.
The multi-poly is just the best argument in one word why digital is better than analog, period. That thing does everything.
Yeah. It does.
Everything. It's a hold my beer synth.
Yeah. It's aging like wine in my studio right now. So we covered that
down in the studio.
We covered that in the last podcast, right? So the multi-poly is there. It got its week's worth of. I'm new in the studio and it got a lot of obsessive use, and it was like, okay, you've satisfied that I like you, and now I will ignore you for a year. Yeah. So that's where it's at right now. It's sequestered. What is it when you get put?
You've laid down in the cellar and you're just going to let it age until it's.
It's that. Well, I mean, because like. What is it when you are on the jury of a?
Oh, you can be sequestered.
Sequestered. Sure. It's sequestered right now, right? The jury's out, or it's on. It's on trial. Nah, that's not a good metaphor. I prefer the wine metaphor. Yeah, I've laid it down.
It's aging. It's getting better. Yeah. And I've gone down to the cellar and played with the multi-poly a couple times, and it's warming. I'm really warming up to. Luke and I had sort of an interesting instant topic.
Yeah.
Luke, you have the multi-poly hardware and the native interface.
I do,
and I believe you prefer to play with the native interface, the VST,
when making sounds. Yeah, I prefer to do sound design on the laptop in a comfy couch with headphones, and then transfer those sounds over the hardware when I want to write music with them. Different sort of perspective. And other people are probably the other way around. They like to turn the knobs on the box.
I like to turn the knobs on the box.
Yeah.
It's a little bit of a challenge to get around the box. I think the UI on the computer is a little easier to figure out what's going on.
Yeah.
The UI isn't bad on the hardware, but there's just 4 layers with 4 oscillators, and there's a lot. Two filters.
The Korg Pi Synths Op6 set aside because it's like the black sheep of the family, but like the other mod wave state, multi-poly, the UI gesture metaphors on the panel are all the same, right? So once you learn one, navigating any of them is really easy. So,
and I would say the Op6 is the 6-legged sheep of the family, not the black sheep. It's just
it's a weird. Yeah. It's it's the unbirthed synth.
Yeah.
Go a little dark there.
It's the Sleipnir.
Right, the synth or something, Thomas Covenant kind of thing.
Yeah. So it's cool. I'm I could go on an hour about how much I think the Op6 is really another synth that might be your only synth you ever need because you can treat it as a virtual analog synth instead of an FM synth if you wanted to. All right. Sorry, I know we've got other topics.
Yeah, we do. Let's move to the next one.
Yeah.
Because we can go on for ages on that one, right? And that's like we started with a classic chestnut of the synth internet, right? Analog versus digital.
Yeah.
All right. So let's go to a more spicy one. How much expression do you really need in that MPE poly aftertouch space? And I added this as a topic because, and I have ranted about this at least twice. I think it is something about me is irrationally triggered when I see a synth review and the synth reviewer dings a synth for not having poly aftertouch. It's nearly perfect, except, they missed the mark. It only has channel aftertouch. So sad.
Yeah.
And it's sort of like, you play with one finger, mother effer. You know, it's like, you don't use that. Many people don't use that.
How are you doing with the velocity control? Let's just start with that.
Yeah, how's velocity going mod wheel? You know, I know in my sphere of friends who synth, right? Less than a quarter, 1 in 4, like plays, like exercises poly aftertouch.
Yeah, it's tough.
You know, there's just a few. And the rest of us are painting our MIDI clips or MIDI lines on the computer, or they're using a step sequencer or some sort of generative aspect of the synth they're using to press a key and have magic happen.
Yeah.
Right. And so like the I don't know. I think the obsession with MPE and poly aftertouch is fine if you use it and if you think it's neat. But if you are decrying the quality, if you're using it to say this synth isn't as good because it doesn't have poly aftertouch.
Well, that's why Vangelis's stuff was just useless, because he didn't have access to MPE. We all know how inexpressive.
He had a CS80, which is poly AT, but still. But I mean, like, what is it? What is the one my go-to Vangelis piece is? Pulse Star. Right? It's like fully sequenced. You know, there's not a lot of like playing. I'd imagine on that. I have no video of the production of that piece, but from a clocking perspective, it's like this song has 3 lines that are effectively single note, 30-second or 16th notes for 5 minutes. If the man played that, he has Popeye forearms, right? He was sitting there just going, da 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 da. So it's sequenced, and any expression that was there wasn't in the playing.
No,
it was in the programming, right?
So the Korg SQ64 sequencer that came out, the much maligned one.
Oh, you have 2 of those.
I have 2 of them.
Okay.
And again, I understand why it's a UI. It's a UI only a mother could love. There's no velocity on the keys.
Yeah.
And now there's actually quite a lot of modulation automation you can put in.
Yeah.
But it's not what one would want. It's limited in what it can do for performances that way. That said, if you're sequencing 64 steps and you're planning on putting in modulation anyway to do weirder things, how are you really missing the nuance of your velocity? I don't know. I feel like but larger, you made the point, the important point that we grew up with music that didn't have velocity.
Yeah. Oh yeah. This came up when we were discussing this a week or 2 ago, right?
Yeah.
Like Safety Dance, classic synth pop, right? All sequenced, right? And that sucker doesn't even have velocity drum parts. Like every hi-hat in there is the same volume, the same timbre. And that's still a great tune. I mean, arguably, depending, I'm old, right? We're of the generation where that was new. That was a hot topic song. I remember when it came out, my dad's a drummer, and I played it for him, said, Dad, listen to this. They're using a computer to make every drum beat exactly precise down to the millisecond. And he looked at me and he goes, that's great. And walks away, right? I did not know how much I was stabbing him in the heart, because I knew he was a drummer, but I thought he would be excited because it was science and drums, and he sort of walked away and put on a Beatles record and, did his thing. Blue
Monday, I know, was also sequenced. And I heard the origin of that song, that the band was like, we wanted a song that we could have the sequence playing. So it was like for outro music or something like that. And
chiptune, synthwave.
Yeah.
The more you're into the retro stuff, the less expressivity you need, right? You program it in later.
Yeah.
Again,
the opposite side. I've learned, because I've ignored the for a long time, the mod possibilities of velocity alone.
Yeah.
As a source of adding incredible expressivity to your playing.
Yeah. I did a video a year or 2 ago that was like, hey man, map your velocity to your envelope times.
Yeah.
You get some wild stuff going on if you just change the shape of the envelope based on the velocity. So if you go play a chord and 3 of the notes have one envelope and the 4th one has a different, it's cool, right?
That's just velocity, which again, the Hammond players of the blues era didn't have any velocity control. You had on and off.
Yeah. Well, I really like the subtle nuance in the organ solo and roundabout.
Yeah, exactly.
It's definitely a high point of the song is the subtle, oh wait.
Yeah.
No.
Well, when I'm listening to almost any classical rendition of Bach staccato and fugue, it just falls apart because the pipe organ doesn't have velocity control.
Well, obviously it was better in the original nylon classical guitar, right?
Exactly.
So the only problem, it doesn't translate well because if you have long nails and you play an organ, it didn't work. All that clicking.
Yeah.
So yeah. So basically, I think the upshot for this is I wish people offering their opinions on synths didn't consider lack of poly AT or MPE a terrible negative. It's just a feature that is present or it's not.
Yeah.
It's like
it'll be useful for some. It won't be useful for others.
If you use it, great, awesome.
Yeah.
I look forward to hearing you use it. If you say you use it, but it isn't audibly apparent, okay, that's cool. May like your music. It's like saying I really need to have velocity sensitivity for my drum parts, right? And then I sidechain and compress OTT compress all of my drum parts, and it's like, okay, well, maybe if that velocity was changing the timbre a bit, right? But it's definitely not changing the amplitude anymore.
No.
So,
no.
Old man farts.
But that brings up I just would like people when they get some of these modern synthesizers to play around with the modulation of sources that they do have, because most modern synths have way more modulation sources than you're probably aware of, and they can do way more crazy things than you think they can. So
there's a side rant we could have there where people diss a synth in their opinion because it only has 16 mod slots, or it only has 8 mod slots.
Yeah.
And it's like, I don't know. In my experience, the more modulation slots you consume, eventually your sound converges on the same sound, right? It's like, I use these different timbres on the oscillators and you tweak the filter this way, and then I put the same 12 modulation routings on everything, and and I modulate half of it with noise. So using noise as modulation source is, I don't think that's a good idea for people who really love lo-fi and stuff like that. Okay. I mean, and I'm not talking about like sample and hold noise where you've got, like a skewed, random wave. I'm talking about, we're going to put audio rate modulation of noise in my thing. And it's like, you're contributing to that whole synth sound like farts.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. But
and I'm in there helping to make them sound like
there's
farts.
There's a subtle hiss over everything, What's the sound what's the sound of this oscillator being modulated? It sounds like this. Every sound. Okay. Anyway. Rant.
Yeah. Well, but these are pitfalls, and it's hard to hear. I don't know. I understand if you're trying to make review videos for a living, you kind of run out of things to talk about after you've talked up the analog chain in whatever synth. That's the reason you should get it. But clearly, without this, everything else is great. But it only has this limited 8 oscillation or 8 modulation
matrix. Yeah.
Good luck. I mean, I've been doing a lot of patch building lately, and by the time you get up to that 8th patch, you're definitely like, what else can I add? And is the result actually adding anything?
Yeah. Or heaven forbid you're on a synth that doesn't have a modulation matrix, right? It's just like, we have some modulation routings pre-wired in, these are your options, and that's it, right?
Yeah, the Pro 800 fits that very, there's a limited set. It's not very fixed.
It's like, I can send the LFO to 4 places. That's where it can go.
Yeah, more.
And I have to pick one. I can't send it to more than one, right? And that's a limitation for sure, but it doesn't mean it's terrible.
No.
Wow.
But also, I that's what I prove to me that you can do it once. Prove to me you built you're using a mod source to do something on here that's not a preset.
Yeah.
And then I'll be like, oh, okay, I can see why you'd want more.
Yeah.
But
Well, it's like if you're gonna, as you add mod sources to the destinations, you are listening ideally. So this will get into this is heading towards panel love, which wasn't going to be a topic here. But so like the difference between hardware and software. In software, you can usually have some visual representation that the modulation is happening, like looking at Vital or what's the Arturia one, Pigments. You know, thing that the new hotness is in any soft synth, it'll show you a visual representation of your modulation, right?
Yeah.
And I mean, that's not the new hotness. I think Massive from Native Instruments did that 15 years ago, right? You saw the little colored dots on the knobs would move when you were modulating them and stuff. But like it gets to the place where you're not using your ears to apply modulation, you're using your eyes. And it's like, I know all these LFOs are turning these knobs because I see the knobs moving, but you weren't actually validating that you could hear what was happening there. Yeah. And I would encourage people to listen as opposed to look. But that's definitely getting into the, I don't know,
grumpy old man period, or
it's very prescriptive, right? Yeah. It's like, do it my way, but you know, whatever. But I'm just saying.
But also do it your way.
Well, no, I'm going to say, consider an alternative.
I'll make you. I agree with you. I want people to use their ears. We no matter how many plugins you have or oscillator or oscilloscopes you have sitting around your room, sometimes you just need to fall back to your ears. If the sound is pleasing to your ears, it's probably going to be rocking on the album. And if it's because no one's going to be looking at the graphs when they listen to your music. I'm sad to say.
That is the goal for people of your and my generation. Everything must be rocking.
Yeah, it kind of is.
When it gets cut to the wax, baby.
Don't come a knocking if this tune's a knocking. Yeah.
Yeah. No, but what is this banger? I don't understand that phraseology. So it's like.
It slaps.
Yeah. It's nice. Well, so.
I've been around kids. I know what they say.
Fleek. I don't know.
Yeah.
That's still like 15 years old. I think the 20-somethings used to say fleek. I don't know what the 16-year-olds say now.
My 15-year-old rarely talks to me, so I don't even know what they say. It's usually silence.
I just get texts from my 24-year-old, right? So no calls. Although they did show up on the doorstep to demonstrate that they had a folding scooter. It was like they arrived. They're like, I took the commuter rail out to your town and then rode my scooter down the bike path to your house. What's for dinner? I was like, okay, cool. Anyway. Well, so going back to the vein of applying modulation, applying maybe tons of modulations, it can lead to a sound sounding the same. Let's talk about wavetables.
Let's talk about wavetables.
So wavetables are the ubiquitous oscillator of choice, it seems like, in the last few years, right?
It does.
They were around for a long time and then they fell out of fashion because all digital things fell out of fashion. We went analog. Then people were searching around. It's like, well, heck, there's analog stuff everywhere. Everything's analog. We all got the same waves. We have to come up with new waves, and like, let's do wave folding, and we'll do this and that and the other. We'll morph things and continuously variable waveforms. It's like, oh, a continuously variable waveform. That's like it's morphing through all the different wave shapes. If only there was some technology that could do that. And then, some bright bunny's like, the wavetables, and they explode onto the scene and everything's a wavetable now. And I have wavetable fatigue because as soon as you can morph through a wavetable, people do it, but they do it so fast.
Yeah.
Like if you got a synth that has wavetables, do this experiment. If you have a synth that supports wavetables you can scan through, pick 3 or 4 different wavetables. And I don't mean the basic ones, like there's always the wavetable that takes a sine to a saw. Go get, one of the weird ones. Get a few of those, and then set your scanning to go through and scan through them at audio rate or at a very fast rate, if not audio rate, and listen unfiltered to the timbre. And then listen to the timbre with, a low pass filter applied, 75%, or take a little bit of the top edge off and listen to them. I would argue that they sound real similar. And I'm kind of burnt on the sound of a fast scanned wavetable. And it's like, if you're going to use wavetables, slow that scan down, slow your roll. I don't know if that's the right metaphor to use here or the right idiom. I would much rather hear what's in your wavetable as opposed to hear you move through the wavetable, you know?
Yeah, I don't. It's not a race to get through the wavetable. I also would like to hear. That was kind of my complaint because I didn't really understand wavetables for a long time. I understood the concept of them, but I didn't recognize the sound of them because
Yeah.
when you go too fast through it, I'm like, well, it's
Yeah.
So I want to hear. Ideally, I would love to hear how filters are affecting the particular shape, at least enough in the song. So I'm like, oh, look, there's a low pass filter sort of changing this, changing this. Let's say it's a sine wave to start off with, a sine wave that's going into to a square.
Yeah, or
Just to be
going to a folded sign. That's
full
real
sign.
common, right? Bring out
Sure.
all those harmonics.
Yeah, but it's not. But again, maybe it's just the stuff I listen to. I want to hear. It's more fun for me to hear the process. Obviously, if you have a pluck, having a wavetable seems a little overkill if you're just having these staccato notes.
So that's happened to me in like one synth videos where I was doing I think it happened on the groove synthesis third wave video, right? I had the filter doing a Berlin-esque sort of sharp short pluck. And so it was closing the filter down real quick. And then I was moving through the different wavetables that were being traversed over the course of the pluck. But because we were only hearing the upper timbres that are the things that change usually in the wavetables for a few moments, and then the filter clamped down for the rest of the pluck, I screwed up and I was like turning the knob to change the wavetable going through, and I'm like, why do these all sound the same? And it's like, because it's a pluck, you moron, right? And you've filtered out all of the differences between all those wavetables. So yeah, it's like I would much rather hear you traverse a wavetable over 4, 5, 10 seconds,
Yeah, me too.
right? And hear the the 3 or 4 repetitions of the 8-bar line to have a changing timbre over the course of, those 32 bars. And so, yeah, I'm tired of I have fast wavetable fatigue.
I'm sorry, man. There's probably a pill you can take for that.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, I have what would be more inappropriate. I have premature wavetabulation or something like
Sorry,
that.
man. Think of
It's like the
baseball.
wavetables go too fast.
Yeah. No, I understand.
Right? The wavetable is spent before we can enjoy the plucking.
This is not heading in the right
Super
zone, Luke.
inappropriate. All right, let's leave this topic. That's something that people can argue over.
Actually, just for engagement's sake,
Mhm.
leave in the comment what your favorite combination or what you like to do with wavetables. I would love to hear what people are. No, I love wavetables. You're wrong, and especially if you're like, no,
Describe your technique.
yeah, describe your technique. Especially if you're like, no, rapid changes are exact. That's what I love in wavetables.
Yeah. How do you prevent premature wavetabulation? I would like to know.
Is it affecting your marriage?
Right.
Anyway,
I dip my hands in like a numbing solution before playing on the knobs. All right. Just crying. Okay. So we have another item on the list, and it was synth oriented because this is so important to a lot of synth players where they buy synths and there are no internal effects in them, in those aforementioned analog synths that quite often do not have effects. So pedals. Why do we love and hate pedals? I have a canvas bag it's large enough to hold a small child in my studio that is just full of pedals that I've accrued over the last 3 or 4 years. And I look at this bag and I go, that's my pedal collection. And I love it. And then when I go to use them, I hate it.
yes.
Why is that?
Because you have a brain in your head.
No.
Oh,
I think you know why. Right.
So I mentioned I'm a recovering guitarist, so I love pedals.
Yeah. Well, I play bass, so I love pedals too.
Now the problem is the pedals make a lot of sense for guitars.
Yeah.
They don't make a lot of sense for synthesizers. That's right. I'm going to say it one more time. Pedals do not make sense for synthesizers. If you are like many of us, you're not just using one synthesizer. You are a conductor that is conducting multiple instruments at once. you could absolutely decide that you want to, and I did this fairly recently. I've got 4 synthesizers. I'm going to have 4 effects chains for each synthesizer. Well, okay, you still have 2 hands. So how much when you're playing are you able to go and turn knobs on all the effects units at the right time on the right synthesizer? Maybe you all have better attention span than I do. I'm an old man. I've got a family. I'm very confused most of the time.
Well, heaven forbid that you put the pedals, on the frickin'
Oh,
floor.
you can't do that.
No,
I'm sorry. I
absolutely
wasn't even
not.
thinking about these are
How
table
would you
pedals.
modulate them?
Yeah.
Right? I mean, I don't have prehensile toes. I don't have the toe dexterity to turn the knobs because on some of these pedals, the knobs are quite small.
They're yeah. And yeah, so that's I have a interface problem with pedals.
Yeah.
The second problem I have is I'm as soon as you go into the domain of pedals, you're taking your signal, no matter even if it started off as digital and it's going analog. And as soon as we go in the analog domain and you stick another wire in the chain, you're gonna get noise. Now you can fight me and let's so slide. Who cares? It's warming up the sound. You can make whatever excuse you want, but you're just building in more
noise,
more hiss you need to take out with Dolby B.
And a low pass filter too, right? Because I don't know what the metric is. Add that to the comments if you know it. It's like for every foot of TS cable you add, you pull a certain percentage or a certain amount of high frequencies off the signal.
Absolutely.
Man.
Absolutely. And there's, if your signal chain gets long enough, you run into buffering issues where you're just losing signal and you need to boost it. No. I'm not going to go into that. Go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, granted, right, I'm in my 50s, right? So I can add a hell of a lot of cable before the high frequency loss is apparent to me.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But, I probably get down, about 16K before I notice it. But what is that? That's like 800 feet of cable or something like that. So I have room for more.
My high end is definitely topping out at 10K these days.
Yes.
I can barely hear anything above that, and I'm not entirely sure I hear 10K very well anymore. So I've got a user interface problem. I've got a pro audio concern, and then finally there's a cost association. So let's say you've got a Strymon. I'm going to name names. You got a Big Sky Strymon.
I don't own
reverb.
any Strymon or hardware or software, but I do lust after them.
They're fine, but that's a $300 to $400 unit, possibly $500 unit, depending.
Maris, another one.
Maris,
I lust after the Maris stuff.
Any of the Eventide.
H9, all that. Yeah.
They're great. I'm not saying those are bad units. What I'm saying is if you've got one and you put it to one of your synthesizers, you might decide,
I need another one. Yeah, I need another one for this other synth. Yeah, exactly.
And maybe you can plumb it in through some kind of aux unit on a mixer. Maybe, I don't know. It's got to be
and then there's power infrastructure.
So
I said I don't own any Strymon pedals. I do not own any Strymon pedals in hardware or software, but I do have about $600 in Strymon power infrastructure. Right.
So I hope what we can do, I don't know how to do this, but I'll somehow post a link to, we did a synth petting zoo at our mutual work. And I wanted to show you a picture of this setup where I specifically wanted to have a DAW setup.
If you send me that photo, consider it on the screen right now.
Perfect. And I made this ludicrous setup just to show people. I had 3 synthesizers, I think. 3 synthesizers, each had 3 pedals on it. And the power infrastructure that goes in with that was, I think I barely got it to fit in one giant extension AC wall wart thing.
Oh yeah. That's a whole nother level of social stress too. If you go to a synth event like an EMOM or to a synth petting zoo or something like that, and you don't bring enough power infrastructure, you don't bring multiple power jacks and stuff like that, if you're an organizer, ain't nothing sadder than seeing some bright-faced synth noob show up with their synth and no power infrastructure. They're like, I just need to plug it in. Does anyone have an empty slot in their thing? And to get them, they get cold-shouldered by their peers like, no, I'm using all this. Sorry, buddy. Nothing there for you. It's so sad, right?
It's so sad.
So yeah, on all of the event listings, it's always one of the standard bullet items is bring extra extension cords and power strips, please.
So along with that
pedals
setup,
just aggravate that.
Oh God, yeah, pedals. So I already had to bring, because it's analog and DAWless, I already had to bring a mixer.
Yeah.
Right. So the mixer has power needs and power infrastructure needs. So I had all of that nonsense going on. And then next to it, further down the table, I just had the Take 5.
Oh, yeah.
So the Take 5 had more voices than that other setup, which so the other setup, I measured it, was 4 Volcas wide by 4 Volcas tall. So just that layout for the 3 synthesizers, the mixer, and the pedals is just a huge surface area.
Yeah.
Maybe you guys, that's not an issue, and you're having fun. And if you're having fun with that setup, great. But the more you grow into synthesizers and want to pull in more synthesizers, the pedals do not scale with you.
Yeah.
They are really they're meant for one instrument.
Yeah.
And
yeah,
I'm kind of grumpy about it.
What is it? The cost is not it's exponential cost for linear love.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I didn't mean to steal. Did you have other thoughts that you wanted to?
No, I mean, you covered, I agree with, I love my pedals and I hate my pedals.
Yeah.
And I pull them out. The pattern is, it's like, I want to stick a pedal on, an analog synth that has no effects. Right. So I pull out Univibe, my favorite effect pedal of all time.
It's quite nice.
Take the Univibe, run that into there, and then that comes out. It's a mono synth into a mono pedal. That's another nightmare. It's like mono versus stereo.
Yeah.
It's like, I really love the sound of this pedal. It's a mono pedal, and I want to plug my stereo synth into it. Now, I am told that in professional production environments, they almost never run synths in stereo, even though they are stereo synths.
Oh, interesting.
They run them all mono and then place them in the stereo field. That is something that I heard. It was hearsay. I don't know if that's true. I've never been in a professional production environment.
That's why all my stuff sucks, is because I'm recording stereo.
Because I don't know.
Yeah,
but like that, the pedal, the stereo versus mono pedal is less of an issue in that particular situation. But I'll pull out a pedal, I'll plug it into the synth, and I'll be like, this sounds good. Awesome. Now I'm going to put another layer, to your point, right? I'm going to add the next synth. And that synth is, if it doesn't have effects, I'm like, okay, I need another pedal. Okay. So I've got 2 audio cables on the first synth, one to the synth to the pedal, one to the pedal to the mixer. Okay, fine. Second synth, I need another pedal. Okay, that means I need another cable. Okay, and 2 more cables. And I need power, so got to get find the AC wall wart adapter or plug in another lead.
Yeah.
So like you can buy one of the nice high end Voodoo Labs or Strymon power supplies, multi-pedal power sources.
Mm-hmm.
But the stupid leads, the 9-volt leads that run from the main box to all the pedals, that's just that's like a modular synth mess.
Yes.
Just not modular, it's power infrastructure, no signal running through there. It's just yet another stressy rat's nest.
Yeah.
And you have to be really diligent, right? People who build pedal boards have a much higher level of rigor for that, right? And I don't have it, right? Everything I do, cables look like crap in my studio. It's just, that's the way it is. And now everyone I know who shares photos on our Discord, like, I'd say like 4 out of 5 of them are really OCD about cable cleanliness. And a couple of them, like, every cable is a custom built cable to the exact length they need, color coded appropriately, tied down appropriately.
Wow.
And that's not me.
No.
But I do salute those who do that.
I don't use the right cable. I use the cable right now.
Yeah. Give me what's available.
Yeah.
I hear that. Okay. Well, since we're on the pedal topic, I have a tangent topic.
I have 2 seconds. The other thing is, I hate paying for pedals. Like pedals. I like the cheapest pedals I can find on Amazon. I am one of those guys.
Oh yeah, I went through the phase where the Joyo and the Sonic Cake, man, those pedals are awesome.
Yeah, they punch way above their weight.
$25 a pop.
Yeah, and I don't care if it breaks.
Black Friday's coming. Like, that's the stocking stuffer in my house, man. Black Friday is when my wish list gets full of Joyo and Sonic Cake pedals. Like, I don't care what's new. It's 25. It's like eating, potato chips.
Yeah.
It's like, they're so cheap, you know. Back in the 80s when gasoline was cheap, You know, it was like, I don't care how inefficient my car is.
Yeah, let's go on a road trip.
Yeah, that's the way it is with pedals. I don't care, you know, how much it costs. They're $25 each. I don't care that I don't need 3 more rat clones, right? But Sonic Cake makes one, Joyo makes one, and the other company makes one.
Yeah.
I better compare them all.
Yeah, you better.
Yeah, for sure. Well, all right. So in the pedal category,
yes,
it's a special day.
Uh-oh.
Red letter day.
Okay.
I was brought to my attention earlier today that Taskboy, Joe, is celebrating 10 slogging years of participating at our place of business where we work. It is his 10-year anniversary. And to that end, we have a gift for him, which I will throw a picture of up on the screen. The labeling on it is very important, like their quality, certain quality aspects of the award. It is a major award. Bitches. Sorry, family. You know, and it is analog synth gear. Very important.
That's nice.
Feel free to open that if you can and enjoy the contents therein while we wait. And so let me ask this.
Yes.
Of people who are listening to this podcast, anyone out there are they pocket knife collectors?
Yeah.
Because I've noticed that there's a lot of overlap between people who collect and enjoy a good pocket knife, that Joe is currently opening this gift with.
Yes.
And it is one of the most important pedals, I think, that can solve a lot of the noise floor problems.
I can't believe you have this. This is fantastic.
It is from your favorite pedal manufacturer as well, from JHS. And I think that'll help a lot with your noise floor problems.
Yeah. This is the one that simulates. Is this the one that simulates a dying battery, or is it's just a mute?
That is literally just a mute switch. Let me take a picture of that in your hand, and we'll throw that up on the screen here. So I'm not going to get your face unless you really want me to.
Sure.
Thank you. All right, we'll take a little picture there. Throw it up on the screen. You should see it now. You know, everyone needs a mute switch.
Oh boy, certainly when I was playing guitar, my band would have really chipped in to get this for me.
So there you go.
Thank you very much. That's delightful.
It's direct from Music Go Round.
Yeah.
You know, literally off the shelf. I was like, what do you got that's cheap? They're like, mute switch from JHS. JHS, he hates JSS. Perfect.
To be clear, I do not hate JHS. I find the material that most of the company produces very interesting and informative. I do think sometimes they make clickbaity pedals.
Well, to that end, the other topic that is also synth adjacent is, how do you feel about the JHS Tascam reproduction pedal?
I don't feel good about it. I don't feel good about it. The day the announcement came out, I have a general policy of not trying to be too negative on the internet. I try not to talk about the things I hate. I want to talk about the things I like. Even with this rant, this is sort of in good fun, but I kind of lost perspective when I saw the Tascam 424 pedal.
Yeah, the 4-track emulator. Is it the?
It's emulating
channel strip.
A channel on an old 4-track cassette.
Yeah.
4-track, which I and Luke are deeply, deeply familiar with, and it's a very distinct sound, which they demonstrated.
Yeah.
And it brought back the pain.
I remember playing my bass through it and clipping intentionally because the distortion sound was so cool to my 13-year-old ears.
Yeah. You always had that joy on a cassette 4-track of not having enough gain or having way too much gain, and then trying to play the game of how do I get it to just be mostly okay? Because we didn't have compressors. I didn't have compressors until much later, unlike today where I have,
Right. I would just use one hand to like strum the low E string, and then I would reach over to the trim pot and basically move it from max to normal, which was still all clipped, right? Because there were active pickups on the bass. The signal's too hot, but it was like a modulation effect to go from to.
There you go. There you go.
You know.
So there's that. I always thought it sounded fairly tinny's not the right word. It's tinny, but mid-rangey tinny, just like squawky, just not in a good.
Yeah.
Not in a good way. It brings me. So I have visceral memories of this, and none of them are good. And for some reason, JHS keeps pimping this particular pedal, the channel strip pedal, as something everybody has been clamoring for. Now, the background to this comment is JHS released a something called a color pedal, which is a channel strip that's the color box, which is recreating a channel strip from a very well-regarded mixing console, a Neve mixing console.
Yeah.
Completely reasonable and awesome piece of gear, and it's a $400 or $500 pedal. This monstrosity that they released is nothing but a meme. There's no reason for this pedal to exist.
We thought it was a joke.
I thought it was a joke.
We thought it was like the battery pedal they did, that simulates a battery running down.
The low battery pedal.
Yeah, the low battery pedal. But it was serious.
But no, this pedal is serious, and I've now seen 3 or 4 videos from JHS talking about this, and it makes me question the sanity of the world more than almost anything else. And there's so much in the news that makes me want to question my own sanity. But the fact that JHS, who is filled with great pedals, by the way.
Yeah, good synth pedals too.
Good synth pedals, incredible. And then they're just hawking up this ridiculous practical joke, as far as I could tell.
I don't get it.
Or it's a joke I don't get. Maybe it's a joke I don't get, but it feels like they're now doing spite marketing. They know that there's a bunch of us that hate it, and they're just like, we're going to talk about it more.
We are not cool enough to understand. The kids must really like it.
Our parasocial relationship with the synth tuber Jorb. Jorb actually was talking about this pedal, and but Jorb at least had the decency to pull out old Tascam mixers, none of which I would recommend, by the way. But he likes it, so I'm like, you know what?
There is an entire school. We recognize that there's an entire school of audio production nerds who like and are aware of the subtleties of the preamps in various tape decks and gear, reel to reel.
Oh yeah.
The 4 tracks, I think, is an absurd extension of that. But there's a guy in the Synthseeker community who collects reel to reels specifically because he likes to use the different preamps in them for, dare I say it, analog warmth. But that's fine. Analog warmth is a thing. I tend to classify it more as adding timbre through clipping, but or overdriving, I guess.
I think a little compression, a little warmth through a slight overdrive.
I like to compress and warm things by holding them in my armpit, like a donut or a sandwich, bagels, stuff like that. That's how I warm and compress things.
But I definitely don't think the Tascam channel strip does any of those things.
Yeah. No,
I think it just adds like how geese are kind of honky and annoying. It adds that sound to every instrument you pump through it. So
okay,
and also just with an overtone of failure.
You can use it then for your nature recreations. When synthesizing the sounds of nature, you're going to need the Tascam pedal.
I will
to do geese
for the flock of geese sound. Absolutely. I've been going for.
We're at 5:13. How are you on time?
Fine.
You want to keep going?
Yeah.
All right.
I'm cleared till 7.
All right. Let's see. We have a few other topics here we were talking about.
Let's just line them up.
So heading back towards synths and music production, right?
If we must.
So one of the things we highlighted was we were lamenting to each other one day over breakfast on the way. Oh, that sounds naughty. Yeah. You're right.
As we were lounging about, basking in the glow of morning.
I was going to say, one morning after I woke up, I rolled over and nudged Joe and said, hey, I said, the weight of a messy studio impacts my productivity. How about you?
In other lovers' questions.
Yes.
Yes, the weight of a messy studio. I completely agree. Maybe our age. I'm not sure I don't think messes bothered me as much as a kid, but now they are. Oh boy, I have trouble. We're a lot of trouble.
Thank God for laptops.
Yeah.
Right? Because all of my music production for the last 2 weeks has been me doing work on my laptop in another room.
That solves the problem.
Because when I go look at my studio, I go, Jesus, I have to it's a huge mess. I'll throw a picture up on the screen right now of what my current state of my studio. And this is not a flex for synths. This is a look at the pigsty. Yeah. I have to turn a light on to move through the studio, lest I step on something sharp. Okay, that's how it is right now.
So it's an escape room. You've made an escape room in your own house.
It's some sort of puzzle. Like it's like in the dark. Let me tell you, in the dark, a handful of modular screws and like a mult and a MIDI cable, a DIN MIDI cable, and if it's resting on the floor light, that's like frickin' stepping on a caltrop, right? It's
Nice.
like ninjas could not make it through my studio windows right now.
Studio security.
Right,
No one
yeah.
sneaks up on you when you're in the studio.
Yeah, absolutely. Like if you try to walk through my studio in the dark, you will be maimed, just literally by the crap that's everywhere. And it makes me, when I walk by the room, I see what's in there and I go, I should really clean that up. And then I immediately put it from my mind and don't think about using the studio at all. Luckily, I've got a laptop, so I've been doing that. But like I've seen your studio.
Yeah.
You have I
share the space.
You have the dubious joy of sharing the space with your significant other.
Yeah.
And it's like looking at pond water under a microscope and seeing the dinoflagellates and the amoebas fighting. The synths are definitely the amoebas, and the significant other crafting materials and business office things are like the dinoflagellates trying to overwhelm them.
Yeah. Yes, that's why I did an hour or so of cleaning, and it wasn't enough, but it was enough to move out stuff that nobody was using. That just had to go to make a little bit more room for synth stuff, and I need to do another round of that. I've actually binned the cables now, so there's a little bit of order to the cabling, which definitely helped.
That may be it. So just in the vein of cabling, I have been telling myself for a week now, I should just take the bin of cables to the living room, sit down to watch TV with my wife, and sort them by length. What did I do today? When I thought about it, I immediately got online and ordered more cables. I swear to God.
This problem's not big enough to solve yet.
I ordered $120 in modular patch cables that were braided and color-coded by length so that I can literally throw away the cables that are a giant rat's nest because they've got problems. They're rubberized, but they're really old. Like my cables are ancient. Yeah. And so their rubberization is getting a little tacky, and they've got real fat barrels, and they were these sexy, like braided cables with thin barrels on perfect circuit. And I'm just like, I should clean those cables out, or I should just order new ones. And I ordered new ones. Like, I'm a bad person.
You can always send those cables down to our friend who's
in Maryland.
Yeah.
Yes. Joe did so last year on one of the podcasts, I gifted in finger quotes a modular small modular synth full of Behringer modules to Joe to try and infect him with modular because I don't know, evil, it tries to corrupt others, and he has recently passed it on to a friend of ours in Maryland who had purchased a Behringer ARP 2600, but he had 4U of space left in his desktop rack. And it was perfect for throwing in a happy ending kit. Yeah. So Joe donated that there.
Yeah, I fixed it for him.
And we'll see if so we could send him more cables. No, but to send him what we should do is we should just completely tie the remaining cables in a tight knot. Like, I
don't think we need to try to do that.
Like a monkey's paw.
I know. Yeah.
Just make a monkey's paw of modular cables, just ship it to him. Like, here you go, buddy.
It's great. I couldn't, whatever. I don't like to tell people, I don't want to tell you how to make music, but for me, the modular Eurorack stuff doesn't quite hit home. I know a lot of people love it. It's just it doesn't fit my brain super well, and it doesn't make me it's not sparking joy, although I kind of like the Behringer Edge level. So the semi-modular stuff is about as much as I want to dip my toe into that. The full, like, hey, why don't you set up all the envelopes and all the LFOs and have it all. I just feel like that's a solved problem that other engineers have done better than I can do. So I'm happy to just get a monolithic synth. Plus, as I say, I've got more synths than I have the ability to use right now. So my problem isn't lack of synthesizers. It's lack of depth of learning how to use the instrument. And that's where I'm trying to spend my time.
Yeah.
Not trying to sound highfalutin, but that's also how you defeat gas. If you're worried about gear acquisition syndrome, you should only if you're thinking about buying another machine, why don't you pull out the manuals for the machines you already have and see what this new machine would do that the other ones don't, besides be new.
Right? Yeah. Buy more synths. Just buy more synths. Shut up.
Counterpoint.
Buy more synths.
Shut up, Joe. No, buy more synths. Yeah, so you can. I did that. I bought a lot of synths, but I'm still trying to dig myself out of all the synths I bought.
There's a little bit of hypocrisy there in my statement, right? So I think I have at least one video, anti-gas video, but yeah, buy more synths. All right, so we had a couple other topics that are less interesting to me now. I really want to play this game that we had proposed as sort of wrap up for this effort.
Yeah, let's do.
We asked the question, and this is cliche, but I get asked this every time I've streamed. I was asked this question basically, and it's like a topic at every synth meetup we go to, in the synth petting zoo. People walk in the door and ask this question. And so Joe suggested breaking it down by price point. And it is, what is the one hardware synth you need or want at various price points? And this is really just this is not promoting any particular synth. It's just an insight into how you perceive value, and I perceive value for synths. And so, yeah, so we've got, 5 ranges, and it's the $200 to $500 range. Now, why do we have the floor of that at 200? Why doesn't it go to 0?
Just go to 0.
It could go to 0.
Yeah.
All right. It's because I wasn't sure if you were doing a hot take there saying, any synth that's less than $200 isn't worth having. There's no value there. That's not your statement. All right.
No, it's my belief, but it's not my statement.
All right. Well, so we got 5 ranges. We've got 0 to 500, 500 to 1,000, 1,000 to 1,500, 1,500 to 3,500.
Yeah.
And then anything above 3,500-ish. Okay.
Yeah, which is money's no object.
All right. So do you want to posit what these are? So in the 0 to 500 range, what's a valuable synth there for you?
So we're going 0 to 5. Yeah, 0 to 500.
0 to 500. And what makes it valuable? What's your value statement for a synth?
I find that's one of the most competitive brackets, because that is, for most users, that's their entry level. Well, I can spend a couple $100 on a synthesizer. What should I get? I don't know. Maybe I don't know how to play a synthesizer, but I want to kind of understand what synthesizers are, what they have to offer. So let me talk just briefly about things I wouldn't consider. Like, I think the Teenage Engineering Pocket Operator series is, I think they're musical gadgets, but I don't think that's where I would tell people to invest their money if they want to get into synthesizers, such that, I understand how to do patch creation. I understand, I want to get into how I modulate sounds more. So that's what I'm looking for in a synth. Now, I don't care. At this range, I think you're going to get the most bang for the buck out of digital synths more than analog, but there are a couple of analogs synths in this price range that may make sense. So arguably, the synth that pops to mind at the lower end of this scale, the Behringer Crave. It's not the. I know I may have said something differently in the notes, Luke, but the Behringer Crave for around $200, you might be able to find them cheaper than $200. It's one oscillator, but you can patch it to have sort of more oscillators for that one voice. Oh, I'm gonna cheat.
Throwing him the laptop for references. So
yeah.
So it's literally just a browser pointing at Sweetwater synth section.
I can't remember if I don't know if Yamaha is selling the reface anymore.
The reface? Assume you can get them used, right?
If you can get a refaced used, although, yeah, if you can get a refaced used, that's a four voice analog, wasn't it?
Well, it depends on which one, right? So if you're talking about the CS80 reface,
yeah,
I think it's 4 voices.
I thought it was 4 voices too.
I don't know.
That's not a bad introductory.
This is not a synth review podcast. We're not going to go look up specs, I don't think. But I mean, you can if you want. You got the laptop, but that was a good. I like that synth too.
Yeah, I just want to get the.
It's also super portable, right? As far as like couch composing,
yeah,
right? That's nice. It sounds good. But I don't know.
I'm sorry, I've gone silent because I'm now typing.
Oh no.
So I personally would stay away from Some of the smaller units from Behringer, they're the Pro VS Mini Hybrid. I think it's an interesting concept. It's about 120 bucks.
At that point, the synths are getting so small physically
that
like any value of having, you know, tactile interface is lost when they're that small, you know.
It's hard not to say the Micro Freak also for 350 bucks. That has a huge sonic capability. It is monophonic, which kind of bums me out about it, but that's me.
I know people are down on the Micro Freak lately, it seems like.
Yeah, I think the tide has turned a little.
Yeah, I don't know. So there's a whole aside I want to cover after this. As sort of, this was going to be, I was thinking this is the final topic, but I do want to go through the whole firmware expectations.
Oh, sure.
Right. But yeah.
Luke, do you have some thoughts on this range for introductory?
I do. This is what I want in this range. I would really like it if Behringer would make a cheap version of the Moog Labyrinth.
Yes.
Because I like the Moog Labyrinth, like from a design perspective, but not at its price point. And I don't think it has MIDI. And I just I want to take those phase lock loop sampled, you know, melodies that come out of the Labyrinth's sequencers, and I want to be able to transpose them via MIDI. And it's sort of like, there's an exercise there. I was like, do I want to build that as a Max for Live device, or do I want to, you know, fiddle with various other software platforms to build one? No, I want a box, right? Yeah. Anyway, yeah, in the $0 to $500 range, if I'm just going to tell people, so I like the Micro Freak, although I sold mine. I like the Micro Freak. I don't care for, I don't like its panel. I don't care for the keyboard, even though it's perfectly usable. I like, I could always get the sounds I wanted out of it. But when it comes down to panel love, if you want to spend less than $500, if you don't need polyphony, that Behringer Model D clone,
it is a popular one,
is a canonical archetype synth, right? I really think that's awesome.
If you want presets, the Pro 800 is also would be a suggestion.
I have laid hands on your Pro 800, and I do like that as well. Yeah. And if you're an anti-Behringer person, that does limit the field somewhat, because below $500, you're going to have a hard time with it.
There's Volcas, so the Volca FM2 might.
You know, I'm scrolling through Sweetwater here, and I'm being triggered again by this sort of like nostalgia reproduction thing. You know, the Behringer Wasp.
Yeah.
And, you know, the Oscar, people are, you know, excited about these things. And it's like, guys, the synths were not great.
No,
they just weren't. I'm sorry.
They certainly don't have a broad palette. And yeah.
This is my hot take on this, right? So you can people can certainly disagree and roast me, but the Oscar and the Wasp are distinct. The Wasp filter, very, very distinct. I own a Wasp filter. I think it's great. Mm-hmm. But the synth, not great, right? They were
limited.
They existed because they filled a gap in the market, not because they were awesome. And bringing them back is pure, again, filling a gap in the market, and to a degree, banking on nostalgia.
They don't make a good first synthesizer. They're not going to make a good synthesizer to sort of set you up.
I'm not a fan. I'm just not a fan. I'm not a fan of, you know, like, I'm not a huge fan of Behringer. I love the K2, which I sold to Joe. But I've almost pulled the trigger on a Proton many, many times.
Oh yeah, me too, actually. and I just, after complaining about modular and semi-modular, but I'm like, oh, that could be fun.
Yeah. But like, if you gotta spend under $500, you're just gonna have to reach for an automaton, right?
The which one?
The automaton. It's basically a musical eighth note on a. It's a little ball that's a mouth. You squeeze
I know exactly
it,
what
it talks, and it's got a tail of an eighth note, and you play it. So automaton is the way to go.
The point is, it's hard to find a reputable synth below $500.
Yeah.
The ASM
Used.
yeah, usually you'll get some. The Hydrosynth Explorer is close to that. There's the micro Korgs too. The problem is you get into the mini keys, baby keys, and those synths are both kind of powerful, but they don't. The small keys diminishes the credibility of the unit.
It's
and
tough.
and it's tough. So in some ways, I like recommending. I like recommend the Model D where you have to go out and figure out how to get a a decent controller, so you can just spend all your money on the guts of the.
And there's, I mean, in that price range, if you can tolerate vintage.
Yeah.
I say vintage is a kind way of not saying used, beat up piece of crap.
Yeah.
Right. Because when I go into the local music go around,
it's rough.
I'm not looking at vintage. I'm looking at garbage.
Old garbage.
It's garbage, not vintage.
Yeah.
And so, but if you can deal, right? I happen to have under a bed an ESQ1 that I like very much, but it's under a bed. Yeah. But that was below $500 for sure. Yeah. So I don't know. Let's get out of this price range.
Yeah.
So 500 to 1,000.
Now this gets interesting.
Now, if you think about the new hotness, right? That's like Moog Messenger territory, right? And that's
that's very
like,
much so now.
That's like Korg Raspberry Pi synth territory.
I think it's sequential form territory too.
The form, yes, film.
I don't know how to say. Yeah, form.
FOURM. That's just so French. It's the film.
The film. Yeah. Yeah. Maybe.
Yeah. Yeah. So what is how much is that?
I think it's 1,000. 999.
The film is not from Ensoniq, it is from Sequential, and it is selling on Sweetwater for 5 nines. So 999.99.
Nice.
So $1,000.
Yeah. Under $1,000.
Yes, it's under $1,000 by 1 cent.
Yeah.
Which we don't have anymore.
No.
Right? Didn't they vote the pennies away, right?
I guess
pennies have gone.
This is not our political comment.
Okay, well, we're not going to have that.
Bring back the penny.
Yeah, well,
don't.
So,
but so the form has 4 voices and
nope, not enough. Fail. Fail. 4 voices is not enough. You must have at least 5.
Then you can choose. Then the mini log is also out. Well,
it shoots out all the monosynths. I know. I'm just. Yeah. It's like if you're not going to be a monosynth, please give me 5 voices.
Hard agree.
It's like I don't want a right hand only synth. That bass side's got to do something.
Or if you're just playing triads or shell chords, as the jazz kids like.
Yeah.
I'm just doing shell chords. Man.
That's true. I suppose with 4 voices, I could do a bass and then a couple intervals.
Yeah.
All right, fine.
But it's still
corrected.
So do I have a synth that's 4? I feel like I do. I mean, I run into that even with the Take 5 with 5 notes. It's still, you got to plan it out a little bit.
I mean, if you dump out all my modules on the floor in the middle of my studio, which may be the way they are right now, technically you could say that that's a 4-voice synth. It's just that its panel's a bit. Right.
So in that price range, but what are some? So you've got all the Pi Korgs, all the Raspberry Pi based Korg machines are in that price range. I think even with or without the keyboards, right? So the modules and the keyboard versions are all under $1,000.
Here, I'll start throwing off names of things that are in the price range, right? So let's see. So we're talking $1,000 and 500 to 1,000 is what we said, right?
Yeah.
All right. Hold on. Let's configure the filter.
Yes.
Here we go. All right. So the Behringer Poly D, 609. Messenger from Moog is 900.
Limited time, it's closer to 700, at least on Amazon.
That limited time has ended, I believe. So are we going to, it's safe to say the Behringer stuff is going to fall in that range. A lot of the Behringer stuff falls in that range.
It will, but a lot of other company stuff does
too. Behringer
too.
Wave, the Arturia Mini Freaks 600.
Yeah.
We're getting into Juno territory.
To be clear, so the Mini Freak is how many voices is the Mini Freak? It's polyphonic.
Mini Freak is 6 voice.
So it's 6 voices.
Yeah. I have it in software. And because it's available in software, I've never bought it in hardware.
Okay. Good enough.
Let's see. We're talking a Moog grandmother.
Yep.
Right.
The Hydrasynth desktop is in that range too, as I said.
Novation base station. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Korg stuff is the multi-poly is the high end of the Korg Pi stuff, right? That's $1,000 for a multi-poly right now. Thank you, tariffs.
Yeah.
But like the Wave States 7, all the Mark IIs are down there.
So again, first synth. Again, I've already said how much I love the Op6 and that you could use it as a virtual analog, but for a first synth or a synth that covers the most space.
Oh, you're going to pick the Hydrasynth.
It's hard not to. It's hard not to.
Big surface area.
It does.
Major sonic surface area on the Hydrasynth, and it's 650 right now.
Yeah. Oh, really?
Yeah.
Is that the Explorer?
The Explorer is
Yeah.
650.
So if you don't want that, what's the desktop? Is that still under 1,000? It was around 800.
The desktop, the rack unit,
yeah,
is 850.
So I would always strongly recommend the desktop, Hydrasynth desktop.
The rack,
even over the Hydrasynth Explorer.
Yeah, I can't handle mini keys. I got giant. Yeah. My index finger is a little bit smaller than a full size Kielbasa.
Okay.
Right.
Reminds me too much of that with Everywhere All at Once movie. That just anyway with the finger the hot dog sausage people.
I did not see that film.
Oh, that's why you're looking at me blankly.
Yes, I'll have to go see that film.
Yeah. Anyway. So I also
you're
agree.
The 500 to 1,000 range is,
but no mini keys on the keyboard. So just that cuts out some.
Okay, well, so now you're talking 850 plus the cost of a controller.
Yeah,
fair enough.
Yeah,
all right. Multi-poly rack 949, then a controller on top of that probably puts it out of this range.
Yeah.
I'm going to throw out there the DeepMind 12.
The DeepMind 12 is a very interesting because that's going for like $700-800.
It's $9.
It's $9, yeah.
It's $909 at Sweetwater.
That's tariffs.
That's weird.
Yeah.
That's tariffs. I'm not a huge Behringer clone synth fan, although anything that's cloning Moog, Mini Moog, I'm happy with. But I played the DeepMind not at the last synth petting zoo, but the previous one.
Yeah.
And I was surprised at how good it felt.
Yeah, the keys in particular was
really good on that. I was very surprised.
Yeah.
So that's definitely there.
Yeah, it would be but that's again, it has the DeepMind is replicating or at least based on the Juno architecture, which is great, but it's not the widest palette you're going to get. Right?
No, Hydrasynth has got that.
So if you want a cool analog synth, the DeepMind's pretty compelling.
Yeah.
Again, but also that architect very easy to learn, but I'd be concerned that people are going to hit the wall kind of fast on what you can do with it because it is a little limited.
Yeah.
Right. Especially when you're saying, all right, or you could get an Op6, right, and treat it as a 6 oscillator virtual synthesizer.
That's a good value, but it's sort of like the same way giving someone a dictionary is a good value. It's like there's a lot in here, and if you understand all of it, you'll have an amazing sonic vocabulary.
Yeah.
But it's a bit of a slog to read.
There's no argument there. Although, you do go further with it.
I was sitting here contemplating like Op6 maybe. Then I was like mod wave state. Those are right in the middle of the price range.
Exactly.
$700 or so. Roland Gaia 2 also.
Oh, right.
Right. That's got a pretty broad set of options there. So I don't know what's going on there. But and what else? If you like Roland, the SH4D, no keys on that. You'll need to go buy a controller, but that's $700.
Yeah.
Then you get into the whole sort of like Roland, is it software in a box? Is it ACB? Is it Zencore? Right.
And the boutique.
And the Roland Cloud is $3 a month or something like that. And so it's like,
well, that's the other problem. Maybe the real answer is under $500. You should just get Roland Cloud and a controller. It's going to be harder to beat that.
Well,
combo.
yeah. I mean, if your sole metric is sonic palette, it's like every Roland sound ever.
Yeah.
For $3 a month or whatever it is. I think Pro is like $10 a month or something. It's absurd. So you're going to lean towards, you're saying Hydrasynth desktop plus a controller for the 500 to 1,000 range?
I think if it's just one synth
That was
and you
the
want something that's
constraint.
easy to use that gets you into the hobby, that has enough of a sonic palette to grow with you,
Yeah.
I think Hydrasynth would be my. What's the peak going for? Is the peak over 1,000 these days? That would
Peak?
be the competitor.
I think the Peak's pricey. I don't know. Let me look it up.
It might be. I might be wildly
Novation
optimistic
Peak,
on the
you
price.
need a controller with it too, right?
Yeah.
Peak's not a key. Oh yeah, Peaks are 1,500.
Oh wow, I forgot. All right, so they're out of this category.
That's a great synth though.
Yeah,
We'll get there. We'll get there.
So the only reason the Hydrasynth has the edge, two things. I love the Hydrasynth. Has the edge over the Pi. The Pi Korgs are where my heart is these days. So it's hard for me to even speak against them because I think they are so powerful and so capable. But I do think a noob would immediately understand what's going on with the Hydrasynth and be able to make some modest changes right out of the gate without even reading the manual. So yeah, Hydrasynth is that's my guess.
I have to waffle.
Oh sure, go ahead.
I have to waffle and pick two things.
Pick two things.
I have to pick a fully analog thing.
Sure.
Because analog warmth.
We just covered
it's worth its weight in gold.
It's worth its weight in gold. Yeah.
And then
especially when it's going through the JHS pedal.
And then a fully digital thing.
Yeah.
Like if you really want analog and you want something that's panel is frickin' awesome, very playable. I would get, and if you can deal with the mini keys, or maybe you just MIDI up a controller to it, the Korg MS-20, the mini.
Oh,
it's $800-ish. You get them used for like $500.
Okay.
Great synth, right? And if you're going to do a controller, you like Behringer, get a K2, which is way under $500.
Yeah.
But like I like the Korg MS-20. If you want that sort of analog place, I'm going to throw that out there. Doesn't make sense, but I'm throwing it out there.
Yeah.
And the other thing also doesn't make sense if you're going to do digital in the $500 to $1,000 range. I would, again, terrible key bed, but I really like the modal.
Sure.
The Cobalt 8.
Sure, the modals are good.
Or the Argon 8, or possibly the Carbon 8. I don't think the Carbon 8's in this price range. As far as a big surface area, good panel, and very playable as far as the panel's concerned. And there's an internal, what's the right word? Not synergy. There's a design aesthetic on the Cobalt, on the modal synths that sort of lend themselves towards getting to a sound that's interesting quickly.
Cool.
Like on a lot of digital synths, there's a lot of setup. Like I got to tweak like 8 parameters before the sawtooth does something that is different.
Yeah.
On the modal synths, it's like one knob away.
Nice.
So I'll throw that out
there. So modal is still in there. They came back from the dead, right? They had bankruptcy issues.
Yeah, they've restructured or something. I did not pay attention to that.
So I think one thing, I don't know if we said this as the assumption, and I know we probably need to wrap up. I think we're getting low power.
I don't think we're going to get through the entire up to the list unless we got to accelerate a bit.
But we're going to accelerate. But I want to say one of the things you're not hearing on this is Luke and I kind of feel the same way about vintage gear, which is I wouldn't recommend vintage gear for newbie. I don't recommend vintage gear, period, but certainly not to somebody just getting in the hobby.
Yeah.
That does not seem like a good case. So,
well, I agree in the long term, but in the short term, if you could get an ESQ1 for $200,
it is an awesome synth.
It's a great synth.
It is the first one I bought. So
yeah. All right. So let's accelerate this. Let's turn this into sudden death.
Okay.
All right. So we're at the 1,000 to 1,500 range.
Sure.
Right.
You know what? It's because then we went to 2,000 to 3. Why don't we just shorten it by saying 1,000 to 2,000 and then 2,000 and above?
All right, fine.
Because that's from my research, that was a category, the 1,000 to 2,000. So
all right.
So go for it. What do you
go first? All right. In the $1,000 to $2,000 American US Gadalas range. Honestly, Take 5's pretty nice.
Take 5 is nice. The TO5 is also quite
people
lovely.
that the tariffs have raised its price into that range.
Yeah.
So much higher into that range. Also,
Keyboard also feels nice on the Take. I like the Take 5 keyboard.
If you want a polysynth, I like the Take 5. You got a lot of choice here, right? So I'm, the Matriarchs. Well, no, because the Matriarch's a monosynth, and you can fight me on that. I know four voice paraphonic, right? It's a monosynth. So Take 5, TO5. Those are
Peak?
probably
Peak is in there.
Peak, absolutely. You got to get a controller with it.
But at that range, from 1,000 to 2,000, you can definitely get a controller.
Yeah, and you can also splurge on a hydrosynth with a larger key bed.
Yeah.
So, okay, this was supposed to be sudden death, so I'm going to throw it out there and say Take 5. Like, if you gave me $2,000 to spend right now and said, go buy a synth today.
Yeah.
I'd go buy a Take 5.
Yeah. I bought a Take 5, so I literally answered this with my wallet. There's some challenges. The Take 5's nice. I like it. It's analog and it's opinionated analog. That's all good. If you didn't, I definitely think the hydrosynth below $1,000 makes a ton. There's a ton of value there.
Yeah. The
deluxe at $1,800. I think it's $1,800, something like that. I don't know that it delivers enough value. I can't believe I'm going to say that, but I think there's something lacking at that. So I'm going to take the hydrosynth deluxe off of that list. I feel like there's an obvious thing that I'm missing, maybe even from Roland at that price point. I can't think of anything at Korg at that price point that I would say you should go get that. I'm just going to be slightly contrary, and I think the Peak. I'm going to say the Peak.
Yeah, the Peak is a wonderful synth.
It is.
I'm a sucker for FPGAs.
By the way, at this price range, there's nothing I dislike. Just to be very clear, I would love to have all of these synths.
There are no bad synths.
Yeah.
There are no bad synths. All right. The next, sudden deathing it. The next price range, I think, was since we've tweaked it a bit, it's the 2,000 to 3,500 range.
Sure.
Do
you even want to do this or just 2,000 above? Do you think, is there value in what you're seeing?
There's some stuff in that 2,000 to 3,500.
Right, let's do it.
Because over 3,500 is like, we're talking Bentleys and Maseratis at that point. So this is high-end Acura.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
So from the 3,500 range. So this is where again, $1 below the top of the range is the Moog Muse 8-voice.
Yeah, that's a hard pass for me.
Yeah, it's a hard pass for me too.
It's a hard pass at any price.
It won't, yeah. So Moog polysynths are a bad idea. Don't do it.
Yeah.
Unless you don't care about tuning. So that's fine. Hot take. It gets into the sequential area, like Prophet 5 stuff. And I don't know. I just never grew up with the Dave Smith sequential bug. They're excellent synths, but I have a Prophet 12 and it's good enough for me.
What about an Oberheim? Anything in the Oberheim line at that price?
The name, I don't know. The name is not so awesome. And things like the Iridium, are out there, and it's a great synth, super powerful, just not fun to program. All right, so this was supposed to be sudden death, but I think I'm going to end up saying, so I've got some constraints so that it requires a keyboard. And as we said, the Peak is very nice in the previous category. I would buy a Summit if I had 2,000 to 3,500 bucks. It's basically two Peaks welded together with some extra wiring, some extra features, and it is probably one of my most favorite synths to program. The panel is so sweet on the Summit. And it's got there is one weird hardware malfunction where if you leave it on a rack at an angle for years, without, actively messing with it, something happens to the mod wheel and it will stop staying positionable and its default position will be fully closed and it will slowly close over time. And mine doesn't do that, but I've seen a couple of my peers that has happened to. And Novation, I believe, will repair that for you. But anyway, Summit. I would go with Summit.
It's super hard. So at 2,000 to 3,500, you could actually get into the arranger synths at this category, right?
You could if you were Ben Jordan.
Just give me 1 second to look through.
Yeah, the filter's up, so that's your choice.
There's the Korg Nautilus. That's one of the sort of
okay. So you look through there and sort of make your choice. I'm going to go on the side about the Korg Nautilus.
Oh, and the Mod X8. It's the same sort of.
Is it Mod X8? I thought it was MoDX.
It might be Modi.
I want more.
Sure, more MoDX. Sure, I'm sorry.
MoDX. I could be completely.
I outed
wrong,
myself.
right, that's my own weird sort of Midwestern behavior. While you're looking through there, I was going to throw out also sort of. Oh no, brain fart. Sorry, 53-year-old man had a thought and then it went away.
I had a thought once.
Yeah. So 2000.
It's hard. No, but I don't need to go. So again, I don't really. I don't care. Oh, I also. I wouldn't go with the Arturia Polybrute 6 also. I think Arturia makes good stuff. I'm not a Polybrute guy.
Oh yeah, I don't like Brute synths.
Yeah.
I've owned several Brute synths, and I like the Brute circuit.
Yeah.
And it's got a couple different variants. But I'm just not a Brute fan. The PB12, PB6, the Matrix Brute, all of the Brutes, just I'm not a fan. So
I have my answers. Did you collect your thoughts?
I'm done. I threw my thing out there, right? So I'm saying Summit.
So I'm going to pull a Luke and say analog, the OBX8, the Oberheim 8th voice module, I think is hard to ignore.
All right, we'll keep that.
But I think for the digital, we're just going to the Summit. The Summit it's hard to ignore that. It's so much value. There's so much value there.
It's so good.
Yeah, it is.
And it's the best. It's my favorite kind of multi-timbral synth architecture in that there is basically 2 synths complete in it.
Yeah.
With every feature that's offered on the synth, there are 2 of them.
Yeah.
Right. And basically you just operate on those layers individually and then layer them together as you like. I'm a huge fan of that. Now, in the above 3,500 category, there's a lot of like stupidly expensive synths, right? We're getting into, we're getting into high-end eyeglass frame territory, right? We're talking wristwatch territory. Some of these synths cost almost as much as a fancy wristwatch.
This is jewelry at this point.
It's like I could never understand the markup on eyeglass.
You don't want a Buchla Skylab for only $15,000?
No. Although I did have a point. I got a bonus once where I almost bought a Buchla music easel. But opted not to do that because I played with the Arturia Virtual One and realized I just made fart noises with it. And I didn't have the constraint of purpose to really learn in this system. No, but in the above 3,500, I am totally sold on the third wave. I'm sorry. If you have over $3,500 to spend and you don't own a third wave, get a third wave. That's me.
My hot take is more practical. Nord stage. The Nords are great.
Which Nord? The stage. The stage piano.
4, yeah.
So okay.
Or whichever one's the synthesizer one. Is it Nord Wave?
I have an observation about Nords. Right. I've said good things about Nords. I've said bad things about Nords.
Yep.
But I pulled the Wave 2 out the other day to make a 1 synth video, which I haven't published yet. And the Wave 2 is the second to lowest on the tier of Nord current shipping Nord synthesizers. And it's basically the lead A1 is below it as far as key beds are concerned. The lead A1's keyboard is relatively light. It's still very good. The Wave 2's keyboard is an organ style keyboard, waterfall keyboard.
Yeah.
So if you like that. But when I was doing some fiddling around doing some sound design for the 1 synth video, I was messing around with, back to our modulation talk. I was talking the amount of expressive control in just velocity.
Yeah.
All right. So on a lot of my synths, the curve for velocity is not great.
Mm-hmm.
So my heavy hands, my fat fingers, can achieve low velocity and high velocity, but the nuance of mid-range velocities is difficult for me.
Sure.
On the Wave 2, smooth like butter.
Yeah.
And the keys have a long throw in them. And so the sense of acceleration when you're moving from a quiet passage to a louder passage, I am not the world's most expressive player. I only play, monophonic lines and intervals here and there, right? I'm not doing big, thick chords, but I'm like pulling it up in Ableton because I was curious. And I can achieve a really smooth velocity curve while playing on a Nord wave that I cannot achieve on any other synth I have. So I'll say that for the Nords, if nothing else, the key beds are something else. So
That's the reason I said the Nord. Just as a surface area, playability, reliability, your Nords were tanks, man.
Yeah. Well, and what is it? What's his name? Shoebridge. Tim Shoebridge did a video on the Wave 2, and he was like, "This thing's crap build," because it's made from steel sheet, some kind of, I assume it's steel, some sort of sheet metal, right? It's not flimsy. But the design aesthetic on it wasn't to his liking, in that you could see some edges and things like that. And he had some pieces of the panel like break. Some of the sliders and knobs broke on him.
That's odd.
And I've owned 4 Nord synths over the last 20 years, 15 years, 20 years, and never had a physical problem until this year, when the oldest one I had started showing some weird switch behavior. And it turns out, after searching through the forums, that it's like, well, it's frickin' 18 years old and some of those switches are corroding. Oh, but guess what? It's designed to be disassembled, and then you can clean the corrosion on every one of those switches easily, and then just put it back together. And that's what I did. And I didn't actually take it apart. It ended up being, I could blow it out, a little deoxit. And so, like, build quality, I think Tim Shoebridge's experience with Wave 2 was an anomaly. I think it was an edge case.
It happens.
And I'm not disparaging Tim. Yeah. Seems like a nice enough guy. Let's say this like I know. He's a nice guy. I never met the man. Right. So I don't know. But like his intentions seemed pure, and his frustration seemed real. But I really think I want to think it was an anomaly, because I haven't experienced any issues with them from a build quality perspective. Anyway.
So let's recap. You said for your dream synth was
Third Wave.
Third Wave. Third Wave is a very good choice.
Oh, it feels so good to play too, right? Its key bed is not as nice as the Korg's. It's quite heavy.
Yeah. Yes, it is.
But I mean, the key bed itself, the action is very heavy. But the synth is heavy too. That synth is made of steel, no question. There's no question. There's only one synth I know of that's heavier, and there's this guy in the local synth community named Peter who built this huge modular orange monstrosity that I'm pretty sure he made it out of plate steel.
Okay.
It comes in on a Bobcat, I'm
going to put diamond plate on that Volca. I think that would be good.
Yeah, that would be good. All right. Okay. Well, anyway, so I think that's it. We've run
Hopefully
well over.
These recommendations, now you'll all run out and you'll know what to get.
What we've recommended here is obviously the
best,
the elite authority of all choices for all synths,
considered,
because we know everything about all the synths that came out
and whatever you could possibly want.
Yeah,
we've definitely covered all the bases.
Like, I mean, Pittsburgh modular. What's it? The Tilapia.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. No, I don't think that's it.
Yeah.
The Trigon?
It's the Taiga.
The Taiga.
It's the Taiga, but I like to call it the Tilapia.
Okay, that's the whitefish.
Yeah, it's good. I like the Taiga. I played with it at NobCon. One of my peers, my brethren, brought theirs in specifically because I was like, I want to lay hands on one. And he brought it in. It was very nice, except that it didn't move me. So there's some weird things on the panel that you either love or hate, and I didn't love it. All right. Well, hey, cool. Taskboy Joe, thank you so much.
Thanks for having me, Luke.
Happy 10th anniversary.
Thank you. Hopefully,
enjoy your.
I'm not sure I want. I'm not sure I want 10 more, but we'll see how that goes.
I got at least that many till retirement. Yeah. So. All right. And with that, thanks everyone for hanging out with us here on Synth Seeker for the Synth Nerd podcast. Episode 3, I guess.
Sure.
Gosh, Willikers. All right. Have a great one. See you later.